Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So first of all, as usual, I hope everyone is doing the best under the circumstances that they can. Hopefully not focusing on the news and everything too much, because I know everything right now is pretty much seeming like it's going to shit. So yeah, I hope you all are coping as best you can and you are at least cloistered with some human contact for company. So originally I was gonna put this off for a little while just because libraries and everything are closed and I wouldn't have had a chance to go in and grab any physical copies. But luckily my library had an ebook version of Descender Volume 4 available. So I thought I'd break through the monotony of my routine and hopefully brighten some of your days as well by diving back into the read through. So we're about to dive back into Descender Volume 4 shortly. For those of you that haven't seen the channel since the new video setup, welcome to the new video setup. I've got a new computer monitor and everything set up to make it easier for me to do reactions and things. And wasn't really anticipating using this setup for the read through videos, but things being what they are, we're gonna have to kind of use the tools we have at hand. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad. The only major difference between me doing with a physical copy and the digitals, I won't really be able to show you pictures or share the artwork as we're going through it because I don't really have a way of setting it up right now to do that. So I'll try my best to be more descriptive as we go through it. But without further ado, I'm excited to dive into this. Let's get into Descender Volume 4, Orbital Mechanics. And we pick up where we left off with Tim 22 stalking Tim 21 through the refinery on the machine moon as he goes, "I know you're here, 21. You may as well come out. I'm going to find you one way or another." And you see back on planet Samson, Queen Between still mourning, the loss of her followers to the Nishians. As Andy's trying to say, "Effie, please look at me." And she says, "I told you, that's not my name." And he goes, "That'll always be your name to me, F." And you see back on the machine moon, the detention cell. Telsa's still trying to break out of it. Break out of the cell. She's got the electronics box open. She goes, "Why didn't I pay more attention to electronics class at the academy?" And you see Tim 22 looking all ominous as he goes, "I don't know why everyone thinks you're so special, 21. You're just a coward." And we see again the scenes just continuing to swap between Tim 21, 22, Queen Between, Andy and Telsa. As Andy goes, "Under all those implants, you're still the same girl I fell in love with." And she pulls her hand away and goes, "No, Andy, I'm not. I've become something else, something more. You're the one who hasn't changed. You're still just as angry." And you see a bleep and a swip as the doors on Telsa's detention cell open. And she goes, Did I do that?" And you see that smug bastard Quan standing outside. He goes, "No, I did." And you go back, we switch back to Andy who goes, "You used to be angry too. You used to understand." And if he looks at him and goes, "A lot has happened since then. We can't go back to when we're kids." You see Tim 22 continuing his monologue as he goes, "You're not special, 21. You're just ignorant. I know what the galaxy's really like. I know how much they hate us. And that's made me stronger." And you see Quan going, "We're getting out of here," Telsa, "but we have to go now." Telsa's still mad at him and goes, "What are you talking about? I'm not going anywhere with you. You sold me out." And Quan gets angry as he goes, "Size was going to kill us both. By telling him who you really were, I made you indispensable. I bought his time and he let his guard down around me. I was able to access his computer and get codes to the flight deck, but they changed them hourly. We need to find Tim and go." And you see Andy kind of just cradling Effie's face as he goes, "That's not what I want." And she goes, "What do you want?" And you see on the next page, Jet Boots online. And you see Quan and Telsa just running down the hallways in the machine moon as she goes, "Why should I trust you, Quan?" And he goes, "Because if you don't, we're both as good as dead. Now hurry." And you see Andy leaning in for a kiss as Effie goes, Andy, and he goes, shh. And you see Tim 21's activated his jet boost, and he goes, activate silent mode. And you see him trying to, launch up the pillars and safe fly out of the refinery area. And you see Tim 21 spots him as he's flying away. And you see Andy and Effie starting to make out as they both lean into each other. And you see Quan and Telsa still running. And you see Andy's launched himself onto one of the little walkways up above. And you see Tim 22 flying towards him. And you see, God, I cannot for the life of me remember, Sias's bodyguard holding a gun on Quan and Telsa as they come to a stop in the hallway. And you see, what is Tim doing? Okay, I think Tim 21's trying to climb up a ladder. I think he's trying to open a hatch. And you see that Andy and Effie are starting to get really intimate and steamy. And you see the bodyguard fire off a shot as Quan ducks and Telsa leaps over it. And you see that, yes, Tim 21 has found an access hatch, and he seems to be on he seems to have found escape to the outside of the moon. And you see Telsa go flying as she grabs the gun and kicks the bodyguard in the face and smashes his head backwards. And you see Tim 21 escaping out onto the moon's surface and running away. And you see Telsa having grabbed the bodyguard's gun and Quan chasing after as they start running back as well. And again, you're just cycling through the scenes again and again as they're all running. Andy and Effie are making love, and you see Quan and Telsa heading up to one of the rooms. And you see a laser blast strike next to Andy, and you see bits of shrapnel and rock flying towards his face. The blast just misses him. And you see Quan and Telsa heading into a room. Oh, they're heading into Tim's room, trying to find him. And then you see Tim 21 looking back as Tim 22's cornered him. And you see Telsa picking up his copy of Timothy Rocket. Or no, Trinket Tockets, right? And you see 21 continuing to run. You see Telsa and Quan have grabbed Tim's backpack as they're walking away. And you see again, as 21's getting chased by 22, 22's just blasting off more fire blasts to try and take him down. And you see Telsa and Quan just hiding as these robots are walking down through the hallways. Next page, you see Tim's arms starting to come out again as he starts weaponizing. And you see all these three-pronged things coming out of him. And you see Telsa and Quan stopping. She goes, oh my god. She goes, Quan, this is bad. And you see her walking to the refinery where she sees thousands of warbots just, hundreds of feet high. And Quan goes, warbots, thousands of them. What the hell is Sias planning? Telsa goes, we need to contact my father. He needs to know about this. Quan goes, what we need to do is get out of here while we still can. Telsa goes, not before we find, and then she hears a chick as you see an access hatch opening above. And she and Quan both look up as Quan goes, careful. Telsa kind of gets her weapon ready and she goes, I got it. And you see Tim floating down on his boots as Telsa questioningly asks, Tim? And you see him just with these glowing red eyes cradling Tim 22's body. It looks like Tim 22 took one right in the chest and he's been completely smoked. And Tim goes, I had no choice. And you see after Andy and Effie have made love, Effie's gotten dressed and she's walking away. So Andy goes, Effie. And she goes, no, I swore never again. And you see Tim 21 kind of just in shock as he goes, I killed him. And we get into chapter 2. And we see on the planet Samson, Effie's gone out to the barricade. She's looking out to see if she can spot any of the forces. And you see Bandit coming up to her with the questioning, Arf? And she looks down at him and goes, I'm sad, Bandit. All of my people, they're just gone. The Nishians destroyed them while we hid here. And you see Bandit just doing a sad face as he kind of whimpers a little bit. And she kind of leans down, pets him, and goes, thank you, Bandit. She sits down and Bandit kind of just cuddles up next to her. And you see Andy kind of just watching her from afar. As you see Blugger coming up and go, "Hey, Hotshot, what's the play here?" And Andy's like, "Huh?" Blugger's like, "Huh? That's all you gotta say? We've been hiding in this damn cave all night. We've gotta get moving or we forgot while we're really here." And Andy's like, "What do you mean?" And Blugger's like, "I mean, we gotta get after that bot Tim 21. He's our big payday. That is, unless you've had a change of heart. Seems to me you've been getting soft, kid." And he's like, "Shut up, Blugger. Nothing has changed. We get out of here and then we get Tim 21. Blugger's like, "That's good, because I didn't come here to take you to a stroll down memory lane and reunite with all my old pals and loved ones. I came here because I'm a damn scrapper. That's what I do. I kill bots for creds, and if you're not in that with me, then we're gonna have a problem, kid." "We got a problem, Andy?" And he's silent for a second before he goes, "No, we don't have a problem." And you see Tullus coming up behind them as he goes, "Yes, we do." And Driller goes, "Herman thinks something is under us." Tullus goes, "Can't you feel it? Something big is moving below us, like the ground is shifting." Blugger's like, "What the hell are you talking about, UGC? You've been smoking niche weed?" And you see Andy kind of crouching down as he puts his palm to the earth and he goes, "No, he's right. Like a humming deep down there." And then the next page you see giant scream as a giant worm comes racing out of the ground, and it sends everyone just flying. And after he comes in and goes, "Solar worm, run!" And Blugger's like, "Gee, you think?" His band is going, "Arf, arf!" And you see Driller going, "Driller don't like worms." And you see back on the machine moon, hidden asteroid headquarters of the robot resistance. You see Tim kind of just still in shock from what he did. He goes, "I didn't mean to hurt him. He was chasing me. He tried to destroy me. I had no choice." Quan kind of just kneels down and next to him and goes, "You had no choice, Tim. He wasn't what he seemed. This whole place isn't what we hoped it was." And you hear alarms going off the background with an eep, eep, eep. Tulsa's like, "Well, now they're on to us. No more time for pep talks, boys. We need to go now." Quan's like, "But maybe we should." Tulsa grabs Tim's hand and she starts running and goes, "Zip your line trap, Quan. I don't want to hear another word out of you. We're getting the hell out of here. Move." And as they're running away, Tim goes, "What about Tim 22? And Tulsa goes, "That little murder bot got what he deserved. So quit pouting and move those feet." And as they turn a corner, you see a bunch of robots coming down the hallway, blocking their exit. As they go, "Halt, you are under arrest by orders of Sias." And Tulsa just fires up her weapon. She's like, "Sias can eat me." And you see the soldiers going, "The carbons are expendable. Open fire." And he goes, "Affirmative." You see a choom choom as they start firing off. And you see one of them hits the gun in Tulsa's hand and goes flying with a shrack. She goes, "Ugh." And you see Tim stepping up as his eyes go blazing red. And he goes, "Tulsa, get down." As he opens up his palm, you see energy starting to radiate out of it. Tulsa's like, "What?" And you see a shrack as those robots' heads just go exploding. Then you see Tim just doing some acrobatic maneuvers as he starts flipping over the robots, just firing at all of them. And just starts nailing them all in the head with the laser. He just executes a perfect flip behind them. And as he lands with the crouch, he goes, "Are you alright, Tulsa?" And both Quan and Tulsa are just staring at him in shock. She's just like, "Yes." She's like, "I like the new Tim." And Quan goes, "Well, I designed those weapon systems, you know." Tulsa's like, "Yeah? Well, I still don't like you." And so they rush into this airport hangar as they go, "Which ship should we use?" And Tulsa's like, "A close one." As you see more guards chasing them. And you see them getting into a ship. As Quan asks, "Can you fly this thing?" Tulsa's like, "I can fly anything. Just strap yourselves in." And you get a very Star Wars reminiscent scene of almost like the stormtroopers shooting at the ship as Tulsa gets ready to take off. And she goes, "Hang on." As you see Quan going, "Just tell me when it's over." And you see a giant boom, and she just sets the thrusters on and it lights all the robots firing on fire. And you see Quan flying back with it, "Ah!" as the ship blasts off. And Tulsa's like, "I told you to hang on." I gotta just admit, I love how they've drawn like Talos' muscular arms in this. Really appreciate that. And you see black on the planet Narada. You have the harvesters are coming back. As usual, Ambassador Tolima is overreacting. There's no scientific evidence that the harvesters are returning. And you have, it's hard to think of anything more important to the security of the UGC than that. You see Planet Narada, of course, former technological and cultural hub of the UGC, home of the 9 embassy cities and of the UGC Council. And I assume that's Tolima who's going, all we have are the nightmares of some children from Selenos. And you see, dismissing the mass prophecy of our young would be a grave mistake, Counselor. Oh no, it's Heleno Troy. We agree with Ambassador Tolima. Okay, so Tolima's the white ghoul, kind of wraith looking guy. And Ambassador Helena Troy is the one with kind of like the 3 black orbs on her head. And the other one, Ambassador goes, we agree with Ambassador Tolima. This threat is very real and of utmost importance. We must prepare. And Troy goes, is it really more urgent than this? The Nishians have entered Samsonite space. This is a real and tangible act of war. And you have Nagoki kind of just sighing as he goes, and he goes, now who's overacting, Heleno? There are only 3 Nishian ships in UGC space and a bunch of scrappers. It's hardly a war fleet. And Heleno goes, do not play dumb, Nagoki. You know exactly what the Nishians are doing. That madman Snock is provoking us. First is just 3 ships. The next thing we know, it'll be a full-scale invasion. And you have Nagoki going, what would you have me do? Attack those ships and start a galactic war? Is that really in the best interest of the UGC? We need to find a diplomatic solution to Snock's aggression. The last thing the UGC needs is more death. And I believe... that's not Tolima, that's one of the other ambassadors, a green-skinned one. Goes, but what happens when that doesn't work? We need to be prepared to act. And Heleno goes, and what of the harvesters? Diplomacy will be of no use against them. Nagoki's like, counselors, please. I believe this robot Tim-21 may be the answer to all of your concerns. And we see Tolima going, as my people saw, this robot will bring the harvesters. It should be destroyed immediately, Nagoki. Nagoki goes like, I do not want to show you all this yet. Not until it's further along, but you forced my hand. And Heleno goes, what are you talking about? And Nagoki goes, I believe the prophecy of the children of Selenos was correct. It was just misinterpreted. Tim-21 will bring a harvester, but not the way you think. Oh boy. And you see, as Nagoki's thinking back to this giant hangar, very reminiscent of Pacific Rim or Gundam, where you have this giant harvester plugged up to machines. As you see a team of engineers just working away at it. And he goes, we are building our own harvesters to defend us. And Tim-21's Codex is the final piece. Oh boy, it's not going to end well. And we have back on the planet Samson as the worm is busting out of the little hideout they were in and everyone's running away. And Blugger goes, run! Get to the space dagger! And you see Driller turning around as he goes, as he's warming up his drill, and he goes, come on, worm! And you see him just sticking his arm into it as he drills into it, and the worm just flails about as the driller's caught onto it. And he goes, gah! As the worm just turns and tosses him off to the side. And you see Ben just going, arf, arf! And you have Andy going, stupid robot's gonna get itself scrapped! And Tullus goes, the worms won't eat machines, they only want flesh. And you see the worm turning back to chase after them again. As it goes, great, well there's no way we're gonna make it to the ship. The thing is too fast. And you see Effie going, Tullus, what the scrap are you doing? And you see Tullus turning around to make a stand as Andy goes, are you crazy, man? Run! And he goes, no, Big Mouth is right. We're not going to make it. Not all of us. He goes, promise me you'll get Tulsa out of trouble no matter what. No matter what else you do, promise me that. And Andy's like, I promise. Don't do this to me, Tullus. Come on. And Tullus goes, and tell her I always loved her, just like she was my own daughter. And you see a scream as Tullus just goes running towards the worm, just screaming a battle cry. And he just punches it in the face and dents it. He goes, "Oh, I was like, that all you got, ugly?" And you have Andy going, "Come on." As if he's like, "No." And you see Driller and them all heading towards the ship. You see them taking off with a blast as the worm's kind of trying to go after the ship. And you see a patch of blood, which I assume is all that's left of Tullus, back on the ground. You see back on the machine moon, it's like, "Spread out, find them." And Sai's like, "No, wait." And you see Tim 21's body laid out on the ground. Or Tim 22, sorry. And Sai goes, "Tim 22, they destroyed him. They destroyed my son." And you see here, Sai, the ship just left the hangar. They've gotten away. Sai goes, "No, not yet. Not yet they didn't. Get them, Semper. Launch the entire fleet if you have to. Whatever it takes." And you see here in space, here they come. And you see Telsa going, "I see them. Shut up so I can think." And Quan's like, "Quit telling me to shut up." Telsa's like, "Shut up." And you see, as Telsa starts pulling some evasive maneuvers. You have Quan go, Telsa's like, "This is going to be tight." And you see General Semper, "The human is a better pilot than we thought. So far she's evading us, requesting a backup squadron." And you see Semper going, "She's only human. Launch 2 more squadrons if you have to. Just get them before they enter shift space or we'll lose them." And you see, Chris balls more as you see more ships just blinking in to chase after them. And you see you see Quan still hasn't learned his lesson to buckle himself in as he's going flying backwards again. As Telsa goes, "Gonna show these bots how a real soldier flies." Yeah, "What are they doing? I do not understand." And you see, so you see Telsa, as she's evading the maneuvers, dips back in the U-turn. As she dashes towards them, she goes, "Engage shift drive," and shift drives right before she smashes back into the forces chasing her. And Semper's like, "Sorry, Sais, they escaped." And he goes, "No, they didn't." And Semper's like, "Sir?" And Sais goes, "We have run diagnostics on this Tim unit." Oh my. Oh shit. He goes, "We've run diagnostics on this Tim unit. This is Tim 21. My son has tricked them. Tim 22 has infiltrated the enemy." Shit. Oh boy. Oh, those prophecies are suddenly just doing another 180. Excuse me. I would dive into chapter 3. And I assume this is Tim 21 back in that machine dream world again. As he's floating in this empty space. And he sees the parts of all these different machines and scraps floating around him. And he once again wakes up in the graveyard, littered with machine parts, with a giant harvester in the background. And Tim kind of just comes to a floating stop right in front of the harvester's face. As the harvester goes, "We." He's like, "We." So on the page, they're having different effects bubbles, like different fonts, different colored text speeches. As the harvester's saying in 4 different voices, "We, we, we, we." And like "C, you," all in different boxes. One is black and white, one's orange and white. And 2 others are kind of just different variations of fonts on black with a white speech bubble. So really cool effect. I really wish I could kind of show this to all to you right now, but limitations of the system we're working with right now. And you see the harvester kind of charging up as a white light engulfs Tim. And he wakes up with a start, with a kzzzt. And you see, "Sai is like, where am I?" Size goes, "You're still on the machine moon, Tim 21. My son, Tim 22, has infiltrated your allies by posing as you." Excuse me. And Tim 21 goes, "But why? Why do you try to destroy me? Why are you letting this happen, Size?" And Size goes, "Your time with the humans has made you extremely naive and vulnerable, Tim 21. We are at war, and you chose the wrong side. It is not your family, it is not your fault. It's your programming's fault. But you can still help machine kind. In fact, by merely being destroyed again, you did help us, more than you realize. As you lay near destruction, your AI made contact with a vast, almost infinite source of data. We believe this data comes from the harvesters, and this data may be the key to helping us find them at last." And you see back in Samson orbit, his blugger's just kind of leaning back, and he's like, "Oh, like, this is the life, kid, huh? This is the life, huh, kid? Me and you flying through space just like old times." And Andy's like, "By old times, you mean last week when we met?" And Blugger's like, "Exactly, those were the days." And Andy goes, "Still no sign of the Nishians. I don't get it. They tracked us down, bombed the hell out of Effie's colony, and then just left. Makes no sense." Blugger's like, "Unless they backed off to see where we go next." And Andy's like, "You think they're gonna follow us?" And Blugger's like, "I'd bet my big blubbery butt on it, Blondie. You may not see them out there right now, but trust me, they're there somewhere." And you see back in the crew quarters, looks like Effie's just doing some maintenance on Bandit. And she goes, "Sorry, Bandit, almost done. No one's given you any maintenance in over 10 years. You needed it." Now she's putting back together. She goes, "There you go. Good boy." And he goes, "Urf." And he's like, "What's wrong, Tullis?" And he's like, "Urf." He's like, "You seem like a good man, even for the UGC." And you see the alarm sounding off again as Effie's like, "Uh-oh, what is it, Andy? The Nishians?" And he goes, "No, it's an internal alarm. Someone on board is trying to open the cargo hold." You have to go in the cargo hold? That makes no sense. There's no one else on board. And you see Driller, I think he's trying to so Driller's behind a door, and I think he's smashed through the lock to make sure it can't be opened. I think he plans on ejecting himself into space. As if he's like, "Driller, what are you doing?" And Driller goes, "I'm sorry, half-robo lady. I'm sorry, Yappy Bot. But Driller done a real bad thing. Now Driller gotta go." And you see in shift space, Telsa's going, "What's wrong, Tim? You haven't said a word since we left the machine moon." And she goes, "Nothing's wrong, Captain Telsa. I'm just, well, I guess I'm still feeling very uneasy about what I did to Tim 22. And you have Telsa just going, "Get over it. Tim 22 was a psychopath." And you see 22 just getting mad as Telsa continues, "If ever a bot deserved to be scrapped, it was that little murder machine. He had a few wires crossed in his head." Now she's looking at him. She goes, "Oh, sorry. I've never really been very good with kids. Not that you're a real kid, but..." She goes, "Oh, sorry, I did it again." And 22 flashes a fake smile on his face as he goes, "It's all right, I understand." Telsa goes, "I'm putting it on autopilot. Can you keep an eye on things?" And 22 goes, "Sure. Has Dr. Kwan told you where we're headed yet? Where's Dr. Solomon hiding?" Telsa goes, "Not yet, but I'm going to find out one way or another." And you see her heading back to Kwan, who's kind of just messing with his robot hand. He's looking at it. And Telsa just glares at him. She goes, "Kwan, what are you doing?" And he goes, "What?" It's like, "Oh, nothing. It was nothing." Telsa comes over to him, crosses her arms. She's like, "Well, I need you to tell me where we're going. Where is Dr. Solomon hiding? Or do you really even know?" Kwan goes, "I know, but I think I should contact the UGC. Speak to your father personally." Telsa's like, "My father?" He goes, "Look, things are already spiraling out of our control. If the hardwire managed to track us, well, I think the UGC needs to rendezvous with us." Telsa goes, "I don't need my father. I told you already, we lost the hardwire when I jumped to shift space. If you call my father, he'll overreact, and we'll have half the damned war fleet here before we know it. Now tell me, where is Solomon?" And she just kind of grabs him and starts lifting him up. And Quan starts getting scared as he goes, he's on Mata, the planet Mata. And Telsa's like, Mata? Mata is all water. And he goes, not all water, trust me. And as Telsa walks away, she goes, trust you? That'll be the day. Quan goes, Telsa, I really think we should tell Nagoki. And she turns back and goes, for your information, I already sent my father a message. Quan's like, what? You did? And she goes, yes, but not to tell him where we're heading. I told him where the hardwire are. I gave him the location of the machine moon. Quan's like, so you really are going to drag us to Mata alone? I thought we were supposed to bring Tim 21 to Nagoki. Isn't that your mission? And Telsa goes, it was, but things have changed. If this Solomon has answers about the harvesters, I want him to. And you have Quan going, oh, so this is about your ego now. Want to show Daddy what a bright little girl he was? Or what a bright little girl he has? And you see Telsa just getting mad at this as she stares at him for a second. Then just grabs him and just zaps him with a kist as he goes down. And she goes, scrap hole. And you see 22 kind of just watching all of this. And he stealthily sneaks away. And he goes back to the ship and he breaks into one of the control panels. And he starts interfacing with it as he goes, Father, can you hear me? And you see Sias going, silence him, as he covers a mouth over Tim 21. And Semper goes, yes, Sias. Yeah, Father, can you hear me? Sias goes, I'm here, Tim 22. We are receiving your transmission. What have you to report? And he goes, they have no idea it's really me, Father. They let their guard down and I've heard things you need to know. And you see 21 just breaking out of his Semper's grasp for a moment as he goes, leave them alone, you're a liar. And you have Sias going, what is it, Tim 22? What have you heard? And he goes, the UGC knows where you are, Father. The hardwire is in danger. They're coming for you. And Sias just kind of clenches his fist as he goes, good. 22's like, Father? And he goes, let them come. We will be ready. You have done well, Tim 22. I'm very proud of you. You have 22 going, thank you, Father. And you see across the galaxy back with Andy and Blugger as they're coming in to see what's happening in the cargo hold. And Andy goes, the hell is that big piece of scrap doing? And Effie goes, I don't know. He's going on about something he did wrong. Blugger's like, I'll tell you what he did wrong. He damaged the damned airlock door controls. I should melt him down where he stands. And he's like, quiet, Blugger. He goes, Driller, what are you doing? Why are you locked in the cargo bay? And Driller goes, Driller a killer. And he's like, yeah, Driller's a killer, but what the hell's going on? And Driller's like, no, Herman, you don't understand. Driller a killer. Driller a real killer. You have Andy going, what are you talking about? And you see Driller going, Driller was in the mines. The mines on Darishu when you were just a little Herman. And Andy's like, yeah, so? And Driller goes, so Driller did something. Driller was mad at Herman's. Driller knew there was a gas pocket. And Andy's like, what are you? And Driller goes, Driller just wanted to make them pay for what they'd done. So when the emergency alarms went off and Herman's was running all around, Driller made them pay. Driller made them all pay. Driller drilled a gas pocket. Driller killed them all. Driller a killer, see? Driller a real killer. And you see Andy just standing there in complete shock as he's trying to process this. And he goes, I'm sorry, Herman. I didn't know your mama. I'm sure she was a good Herman. Now Driller's the one that's gotta pay. Do it, Herman. And you see Andy just getting furious as he clenches his fist. And Effie's going, Andy, don't. And Driller's like, do it. And Andy just slams his hand on the door. And you see Driller just getting launched out of the cargo hold into space. As Effie's like, Andy. We go to chapter 4. And you see Wach, a small planetoid on the fringes of Samsonite space. And you see this alien frog just kind of leaping through the forest. And you see this ratty old hobo looking monk guy just grabbing the frog by its So the Trog got trapped in a little trap where the wire got looped around its head and caught it up. So he comes and grabs it and goes, "Ha! Gotcha, you little bugger." It was quiet, no sense struggling. You're gonna be my dinner now. Might as well accept it. Old miser hasn't had a decent meal in 3 days. You're gonna taste good going down the old gullet, I tells you. And you see Miser going, "What the dog is that?" as he hears a scream behind him. And you see a kathoom as something comes flying into the ground. And he goes, "Cripes!" as he gets up and lets the frog go. And he goes, "Anyone there?" It's like, "I got guns, big plasma cannons, so you better show yourself, unless you want me to vaporize you." And he goes, "Huh, you don't see that every day." And as you see the giant crater, you see these two red glowing eyes poking out. As he goes, "Ah!" and you see an arm starting to come out as something lifts itself out. Miser goes, "You better back off, I ain't messing around." He's kind of just wielding his staff threateningly. And you see Driller covered in mud picking himself up from the crater as he goes, "Herman." Driller thought he'd seen the last of Hermans. And you see back in shift space, Quan finally wakes up after having been knocked out. He finds himself in a prison. And he goes, "Telsa, what the hell is this?" Telsa goes, "What does it look like, Quan? You're now a prisoner of the UGC like you should have been from the start." And Quan's like, "Oh, please, you're just being petty. This is because I insulted your fragile little ego." And she goes, "No, this is because you've lied to me and betrayed me at every turn. You gave me up to Sias. You put us all in danger multiple times." And Quan goes, "I told you already. I gave your identity to Sias to keep you alive." And Telsa's like, "Bullcrap. You were just playing both sides to cover your own ass. You're a sociopath and a serial liar, and I truly think that you're extremely dangerous." And Quan goes, "And you are just a spoiled little brat who doesn't like it when she doesn't get her own way." And you see Andy coming up and going, "Telsa, what's going on?" And Telsa goes, "We can no longer trust Dr. Quan, Tim. He has to stay here. I'm sorry if this upsets you." And you see Quan shouting through the cell bars as he goes, "Let me out of here, Tim 21. Tell her how insane this is." And Tim just kind of tilts his head to the side. He goes, "I'm sorry, Dr. Quan, but I'm with Telsa." And as they're walking away, he goes, "No, come back here. You can't do this. Listen to me." And Telsa goes, "We're done, Quan. I've heard all I want to from you." And you have Quan just shouting angrily, "Just wait until Daddy finds out that you're disobeying his orders." And you see black on the planet Narada. You see, "Are you sure all of this is necessary, Nagoki? We don't want to spread the fleet too thin with Nishians on the move as well." And Nagoki goes, "The hardwire have plagued us for nearly a decade. We're talking about a chance to shut them down for good. I'm not taking any chances." And you see him escorting the green ambassador onto one of the ships. And as you go, and the ambassador goes, "And what of this super weapon you're building? Our own harvester. How long until it's ready?" And Nagoki goes, "Only a matter of weeks. But we need to duplicate Tim's 21's codex to program it. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you that this is the last we speak of it in front of the crew. It is beyond top secret." And goes, "Of course." And as they head onto the bridge, one of the operators goes, "General, we're ready to go." And Nagoki goes and takes a seat and goes, "Excellent. And still no more word from my daughter?" And they go, "No, sir. Only the coordinates she sent for the hardwire base. No new transmissions." Nagoki goes, "Very well. Let's get to it. Open all comms." And you have, "Yes, sir. All channels open." And you see a bunch of UGC recruits looking up as they hear, "Officers of the UGC, we're about to embark on the most important military mission that the UGC has undertaken in nearly a decade. The hardwire are terrorists, but their days of terror are about to end. Lives will be lost. This will not be easy, but it is necessary to finally turn the corner. To start to truly rebuild, sometimes you must first destroy, and the hardwire have left us no choice. Make no mistake about it, this is war." And again, I'm sorry for the Star Wars references, but you see a very Star Wars reminiscent scene as you see a bunch of battleships in space getting ready to take off. as we go back to shift space, you have Blugger going, "How much longer, Blondie? You still got a read on the Timbot's location?" And Andy's like, "The signal's still strong. We're closing in." Effie patched Bandit's companion link right into the ship's navigation system. And you see Effie coming up behind them as Blugger goes, "Speak of the she-devil." And she goes, "Stuff it, Blugger." And Blugger's like, "I know when I'm not wanted." And she goes, "At least you can take a hint." And Blugger takes off. She goes, "I know when I'm not wanted." And she goes, "At least you can take a hint." And Blugger's like, "Heh, you're all sunshine just like Blondie. You two really are made for each other. I'll leave you two lovebirds to get reacquainted." And Effie kind of slips into the seat that Blugger just vacated. As she goes, "We need to talk." And he goes, "About what?" And she's like, "About what? How about the fact that you basically just killed Driller?" And he's like, "Oh, please. A scrapper, F. Or did you... What the hell? Okay, that was weird. He goes, "Oh, please. I'm a scrapper, Effie. Or did you forget? Besides, he's a tough bot. I'm sure he'll find his way." And you see Effie going, "Don't give me that scrapper stuff. We both know that's never who you really were. You can pretend in front of Blugger all you want, but that's not you." And he's like, "Really? Tell that to the hundreds of Robbies I've destroyed. They sure seem to think I was for real." And Effie's like, "So, is that why we're going after Tim 21? To kill him?" He goes, "Why else?" And she goes, because maybe he's a way out of all this. A way to explain everything that's happened to the universe, to us." And he's like, "There's no magic answer, Effie. The universe is full of hate and death, and the machine started it." And she's like, "And you're going to finish it?" He goes, "Something like that." And Effie goes, "You've been taking out your anger on them for years. Well, now you finally had your revenge on the very robot that killed your mother. When will it be enough, Andy?" And she goes, "Forget it. I'm tired of fighting with you. But I'll tell you right now, Andy, when we get where we're going, I will not let you hurt that boy." And Andy just kind of angrily retorts, "Boy? He's not a boy. He's a machine, Effie." And she goes, "And what am I, Andy?" And he goes, "That's different." Now she walks away. She goes, "Is it? If it comes down to it, you're going to have to choose him or me." And you see back on walk, we see, what was his name? Eziard going, "You trying to tell me you escaped Nishias?" And Driller's like, "Escape niches, escape big worms, all sorts of stuff." And goes, "And how the baw dog did you come to fall from the sky then?" Driller's like, "Don't want to talk about that." He goes, "Well, excuse me for asking." Yeah, I'm going, "What's wrong with your arm?" And Driller's like, "Seizing up. Burned up a lot of my oil when I dropped and deployed." And he goes, "Well, there's a big old scrapyard here on walk, but it's way across the other excuse me, tongue's throat's really dry. He goes, "It's way across the other side of the planet, which just happens to be the way I'm heading. You can probably get oil there." Driller was like, Driller don't want repairs. Driller just wants to seize up. No reason for Driller to keep going no more." He goes, "Oh, boo-hoo. I swear, ever since you Robbies got those Quan personality upgrades, you all turned into a bunch of drama bots. Quit your sobbing." Driller's like, "Watch it, old Herman." He goes, "Why don't you make me, you big bully?" And Driller's like, "Don't feel like it." He goes, "That's what I thought. Now, if you're done feeling sorry for yourself, you can help me pack up camp. I'm hungry and you scare away all the critters away from here. Might as well get moving." And Driller goes, "Aren't you scared to be seen with a bot, old Herman? Don't you hate us like everyone else?" And he goes, "Makes no difference to me. I don't like anyone, bot or not. You can either come with me and get yourself fixed up, or you can stay here and rust away in the bog. Don't much care either way. You gotta make your own choice, big feller." And Driller goes, "Well, Driller don't much like the swamp. Guess Driller might as well come with you." And he goes, "Good, then you can carry my pack. Truth is, I can use some help getting across this mud ball of a planet. It isn't as easy as it used to be for someone my age." Oh, Mizard, not Azard. That was close. And you have Mizzard asks Driller, you got a name or just a serial number? Driller's like, Driller is just Driller. And Mizzard's like, how clever. And Driller asks him, what's your name, old Herman? And he goes, Peliot P. Mizzard. You can just call me Mizzard. And as they're walking, Mizzard points out, careful, that's quicksand. Fall in there and you get sucked into the underground city. Driller's like, underground city? And Mizzard goes, you got a lot to learn about walk, Driller. Good thing you found old Mizzard when you did. A lot of things are more than they seem around here. Driller's like, what do you mean? Mizzard goes, I mean, don't let the looks of this place deceive you. Ain't just mud here. There's magic in these old swamps. You see, back at the machine moon, how long until the entire army is loaded and ready, Semper? And he goes, within the hour, sir. We've picked up the signal of the UGC fleet. We'll be ready in time. And you see Tim kind of just closing his eyes. As you see Bandit going, Arf, Arf! You see Effie going, what's wrong with Bandit? What did you do to him? Blugger's like, don't look at me. Just started barking like a little maniac. Won't stop. Got some kind of short circuit or something. And you see Effie leaning down. She goes, whoa, slow down, Bandit. What is it? And you see, so Tim, looks like Tim closed his eyes. He's trying to communicate with Bandit. As Andy's like, the hell's going on? And Effie's like, I think he's trying to tell us something. Not his usual speech pattern. This is more like Morse code. And you see Bandit going, Urf, Urf, Urf. And Effie's like, I think it's a message from Tim 21. And you see on the ship, you see Stelsa just sitting at the pilot's chair, just flying the ship still. And Andy's like, what? How is that even possible? And Effie's like, the companion link, It's like, well, what is he trying to say? And Effie's like, it doesn't make any sense. And he's like, what is he saying, Effie? And Effie goes, he said Tim 21 is not Tim 21. He's like, but what does it mean? And you see back on the ship with Telsa, Tim 22 just ominously kind of comes up behind her. As she goes, there it is, Tim, the planet Mata. If Quan is telling the truth, then Dr. Solomon and the ancient robot that he based your codex on are down there. I guess in a lot of ways he'd sort of be like your father. And 22 goes, oh, that ancient robot isn't my father, Telsa. My father's back on the machine moon. Telsa's like, what do you... Oh, that little shit. And his eyes glow red as he opens up the little beam on his hand on Telsa. And he goes, I'm sorry, Telsa. I haven't been totally honest with you about a few things. As we get to chapter 5, and you see, in orbit above the planet Mata, an entirely aquatic world devoid of intelligent life. Telsa's like, Tim 22. And he goes, yes, I'm so sorry I've deceived you both. Telsa's like, no, you're not. And he goes, okay, you're right, I'm not. It's actually quite fun. It reminded me of the Trinket Talkit episode where he becomes a super space spy. And Telsa's like, this isn't a game, you little psycho. Are you two in on this together, Quan? Quan's like, what? No, of course not. I can't believe you'd even... And you see a Shrek as Tim 22 just blasts him through the cell bars. And he goes, quiet, as Quan goes sends flying back with, And Tim goes, now then, we have work left to do. Take us down to Mata. And you see a ship coming in down for landing as it dives into the water. And Telsa goes, there's nothing here but ocean. Quan was probably lying. And 22's like, just shut up and dive. And you see as the ship's getting deeper, you see them just guarding into some alien life and some coral. As she goes, I told you, there's nothing here except fish. Just like there's been nothing on Mata for the last 1,000,000 years. And Tim kind of turns on Quan again as he opens up his arm and goes, Quan? Quan's like, keep going. The coordinates I gave you are good. Dr. Solomon is here somewhere. I swear. And he goes, you better not be lying, Doctor. I will torture you for the truth. Quan's like, no, there, behind those weeds, a crevasse. And you have Tim going up to Telsa going, dive down into it. Telsa's like, I'm not going down there. You want to fly this thing yourself? Go ahead. I'm done taking orders from you. And he goes, fine. As he just smacks Telsa across the face and knocks her down. He goes, you little shit. As he gets into the seat and goes, quiet. He goes, here we go. as he takes her down to the little crevasse opening in the seafloor. And you see, amazing, the face of the crevasse, it's artificial. They built it too deep for any sensors to detect this. This is the work of machines. It's like, wait until I tell Father. Sias will be so proud of me. And you see Telsa just getting up slowly behind him as she grabs a piece of metal and goes, uh-huh, and just smacks him across the head. And goes, sure he will, you little psycho. And you see a thunk and a kist. As we go back to shift space, as Effie continues, he says Tim 21 is not Tim 21. Blugger's like, what is that supposed to mean? And he's like, Blugger, who the hell's flying the ship? Blugger's like, it's on autopilot, Blondie, relax. And Andy's like, get back to the cockpit. There's no telling what we could run into out there. And Blugger goes back and is like, since when are you the boss? I thought we were co-captains of the Space Dagger. And he goes, what did you do, F? And she goes, I told you I didn't do anything. Tim must have somehow used the companion link to send a message through Bandit. And don't call me Effie. And he goes, whatever. And he's looking into Bandit's face as he goes, what does that mean, boy? What are you or Tim trying to tell us? I remember when I used to understand you. And see Bandit just going, arf, arf, arf. And you see as a blue holographic beam comes out of him. He goes, whoa, is this another message? And Effie's like, I don't think so. It's just his internal image library, but it's out of focus. She goes, hold on, as she tinkers a little bit. And you see Bandit kind of projecting an image of a young Andy and Tim as they're playing together and reading books. And she goes, there. And Andy's like, it's me. Me and Tim. And you see back on the machine moon, someone is coming. And Si's like, what is this? These aren't orbital star charts. And Semper goes, this is shift space, sir. New tech our engineers have been testing. They can actually track ships in shift space now. And this one, whoever it is heading straight towards us. And Sias is like, UGC? And Semper goes, no. Its signature matches that of an unregistered craft. Most likely a scrapper or independent transport. And Sias is like, how do they know where we are? That's impossible. It goes, unless. Is it possible someone is tracking Tim 21? And Semper goes, I suppose so, but whom? And so Sias goes and kneels in front of Tim 21 as he goes, who is it, Tim 21? Who's coming for you? Tim's like, I don't know. Sias is like, I worry all that time spent with humans has taught you to lie. Doesn't matter. At this point, we'll be ready to move out soon. If they want to find us, let them come. Semper goes, sir. And Sias goes, prepare the war fleet, Semper. All of it. And you see back on the ship with Telsa, you see that Tim's just kind of rubbing his head where his electricity's short-circuited a bit. And he goes, that wasn't very nice, Telsa. And she's like, yeah? Well, neither is this. She goes in for another smack. And he just grabs it before it stops, before it hits him, goes, so slow. He activates his rocket boots, he just tackles her into the wall. And he goes, I was actually going to let you live. I swear to light you. And Kwan's like, Telsa! And you see Tim just grabbing her and kind of tossing her around. And Kwan goes, Tim 22, stop this. This is not what I created you for. 22 goes, oh? And what did you create me for, Doctor? To be a pet? To suffer? To be alone? And you see him dragging Telsa by the hair behind him as Kwan goes, let her go. And Tim goes, you don't care about her anyway. You only care about yourself, Jin Kwan. But I care about all of machine kind. That is why we will win. You all squabble and fight amongst yourselves, but machines are united. We are one. Oh, so it looks like he's tossed Elsa into the airlock, and Kwan's went, what are you doing? And 22 goes, what does it look like, Creator? I'm doing what you programmed me to do. I'm eliminating waste, just like a human. And Kwan's like, stop! And he's like, no. As he slams the button and sends Telsa jetsoning out of the ship into the water. Kwan's like, Telsa! As we go back to shift space, and you see Bandit projecting more of the memories of him and Tim, Andy and Tim when they were kids. And Andy goes, that's enough, Bandit, turn it off. He goes, I said that's enough. And Effie's like, Andy, and he's like, don't. And you hear, Blondie, you better get up here. And you see Andy jumping back into the pilot seat as he goes, what is it, Blugger? Blugger goes, it's the end of the road, Ace. We're almost there. Andy goes, okay, prepping to bring us out of shift space. And Effie goes, Andy, are you sure about this? I mean, if that warning was from Tim. And Andy goes, we'll never know until we find him. Shutting down shift drive in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you see an oh shit as they come out of shift space and they see the giant UGC fleet having finally made it to the machine moon. As Blugger goes, they're waiting for us, the whole damned hardwire out there. And Effie's like, get us out of here. And he's like, I can't use the shift drive again until it cools down and recycles. We're stuck. And you see we're taking fire as they start to navigate between all the firing happening between the UGC and the machine moon. And you see, move. And you see this interspersive shots with Telsa in the water. And you see, don't you get it, Blugger? And Blugger's like, we have to get out of here. And he's like, there's nowhere to go. And if he goes, what are you doing? You need to fight back. And he's like, the engines are dead. It's no use. We're dead. And you see Telsa just kind of floating unconscious in the water. As you see Semper going, it's just a little scrapper ship, sir. Only one. They've already taken heavy damage. And Sias goes, order the fleet to stand down. I don't want them atomized. Hit the ship with a full sensor array. I want to see who's in there. And you see sensors coming online, sir. And he goes, there they are. And Tim goes, I know him. That's my brother. So we get to the end of volume 4. Oh man, alright, so thoughts. Again, it's hard to kind of put thoughts because this was a very, very plot driven volume. Or I think we're trying to finally seeing the pieces kind of getting moved across the board to the places where they'll need to be for the final confrontation before we find out what's really kind of happening there. I love how Lemire again is once flips out, as it pulls the rug out from under you, where he flips the script with Tim 22 having impersonated Tim 21, which in itself wouldn't be such a huge oh my god moment until you think of the prophecy and how Tim 21 has supposedly been at the center of it, and how he supposedly was maybe the one that bought the harvesters into the conflict in the first place, and he's basically the chosen one. And now that you've introduced 2 potential Tims into that equation, it kind of shakes up the whole, what could the prophecy be about, and leaves it open to so much more misinterpretation on both sides. So I'm really curious to see kind of how that plays out, and what role Driller's arc is going to play into that. Because when, Mizzard talked about the swamps having magic and everything else, I wonder, how much of that was him talking about, actual magic versus, just, hidden secrets and everything else like that. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what his role in the story will be and kind of where Driller fits into that whole picture. And it seems like, cause I think there's only 2 volumes left of Descender before this entire wraps up. So it seems like volume 5 is probably going to be leading us into the climax of this arc, with the conflict going full scale before we kind of see the fallout and everything from it in the final volume. So I'm excited to kind of see where that's going to end up, and where all the different characters are going to end up with their different narrative arcs. Wish I had more to say about. Wish I had more to say about this volume, but like I said, a lot of plot driving, not as much character development as the other volumes. But I think at this point in the story, I can't really complain about that. Still kicks ass, still super compelling. Can't wait to see where Lemire takes it from here, and really what the answers he's going to give us to. Because I think my only guess right now is we're probably going to see time travel come into play at some point in this, but That's a complete guess right now. So we'll see what that happens. And so until next time, I will try to get around to Volume 5 either this weekend if I feel up to it, or I'll try to get to it either midweek or next week, because I'm still doing work stuff right now, but during in between time, I'll try to do that depending on mood and everything else. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later with Descender Volume 5. Take care.